Namaste, Jai Bharat. Anyway, with Donald Trump assuming the presidency of the United States, a lot of changes are happening in the world. Lots of changes are happening in the world in most aspects of human existence. Something that caught my fancy recently is that the two congressmen, two members of parliament in the U.S., one from opposition, one from ruling, they both were trying to make a bill to screen the Pakistani Army Chief, rather not permit him to visit. Some kind of sanction, yes, that must be the word, some kind of sanction on these people. They won't be permitted, they won't be allowed, they won't be permitted entry in US, etc. And the prime target is the Pakistan Army Chief. Now this is not a simple thing as far as the army of Pakistan is concerned, because the army of Pakistan, they joined the army either with a radical Islamic thought or with an objective of making money and living a luxurious life. So if you look at the history of the army officers, senior officers of Pakistan Army, they all retire and then they go abroad. They don't stay in Pakistan anymore. No one wants to stay in Pakistan, whatever may be the case, whatever maybe they speak of their nationalism and love for nation, etc. After retirement, they go abroad. And prior to this exodus to foreign nations, from their perspective, they must have already made good amount of money and brought properties and maybe land that is sufficient to sustain their existence. All this background must have been done, and then of course after retirement they just coolly move off to some places and they think they live comfortably. Most likely they must be really believing also that they live comfortably. That's their thoughts, their understandings. But with such kinds of sanctions, they will have problems, because if they have acquired property abroad, in some cases, many of our leaders, politicians also, not only in Pakistan and Bharat also, have got properties abroad. Many of us, except those who are from Sangh, they have good properties and they have this money and no one speaks about it. I don't know why. There's no point probably. So if this happens, then their existence is threatened. The army officials, those who make all the money and deposit in some foreign lands to go back at some point in time and then to relax the rest of life, their certainty and surety is lost. I don't know what kind of turmoil they must be undergoing. At the same time, the many people rather speak against or go against or even write against or wrote against or complained against Army Chief, that either he should quit or something like that. Things are not very clear because the news don't come clear. We get hushed up news, and sometimes the stinger operation people would reveal something which are not to be taken for granted. That could be spurious, and especially with the artificial intelligence time in the social media, anyone can speak anything. You would see anyone speaking anything, which may be not really the case. So we can't trust, we can take things for granted, but then news comes like this. We speak about what happened here. Now, this is a problem. This of course is a big blow to Pakistan, because the Europeans speak about human rights, and we know they are very funnily selective in questions of human rights. Wherever they want to degrade someone, they speak of human rights, their violation. There is human rights violation there, and where there is really human rights violation, these people stone silent. Look at Gaza. Why now idiot is speaking about the human rights violation for the Israel, children, women, and old people, but still Gaza? Why no one spoke? Why no one spoke? And Israel is not a small nation. I said it's not a small nation, in the sense they have given you so many things. The Jews have given you so many things. Not only your religion. I would say that the Jews gave you your religion. Jesus is a rabbi, Jewish rabbi. Your God is a Jew. I'm talking about the Christians. They, not only Christians, Muslims also. The Jews not only gave you religion, they gave you all kinds of inventions and technologies. Hindus are comfortable with the Jews. We have no problem. We never had any problems. Somewhere, somehow, they are our people. Or somewhere, somehow, we are their people. That if you go back to history and find out what's the blood relation between the Jews and the Hindus, someone can find out. Someone may come out to some theories. I don't know. I don't speculate because there are a lot of speculations already in the air. So, why? There is no human relation for the Jews. They are not humans. The atrocities done to them are not to be counted as human rights violation. This is what used to happen. It's a very selective human rights violation. But now, what happens in Balochistan is they started taking it as human rights violation by the Pakistani Army. Pak is a wrong word. Pak means pure, and they are never pure. They simply call themselves pure in spite of being not pure, and precisely for why they call Paki, because they are not pure. They are not Paki. They are Napak people, so they call themselves as Paki. Fine. The Balochis, unlike the Punjabis, have an identity. There's 10,000 years plus identity of Balochi history. Balochis have their own identity, 10,000 years plus. They have a Balochi culture. Islam has not changed it. It's simple. Balochi is 10,000 years of culture. 1,300, 400 years old Islamization religion. Then there's 70 plus years of Pakistanism. Where do Balochis should stand? They should stand with the 10,000 years old Sanskriti culture. So Balochis would stand, and they had been. They're not rough people. They are not inhuman people. They are very peace-loving kind of people, in spite of their fighting tradition, fighting history. They are not aggressors. So now they are coerced and forced and compelled. Just because of Balochis good nature, only the Pakistan Army have been taking them for a ride. Otherwise, when the Balochis give back, Punjabis can't stand. But and they're rich, resourceful. They're good resources. If they go independent, they should be a comfortable nation. Once upon a time, Baloch was a Hindu nation, of course, like the entire Pakistan was a Hindu nation. Most of that area used to be a Hindu nation, including Iran used to be a Hindu nation, where Darius 1, 2, 3, etc. used to be ruling. And if you remember, when the Romans invaded Greece, the Greek scholars took refuge in Iran where the Hindu was ruling. I don't say anything more. It should be understood to people. So Baloch is basically Hindus, they had Hindu culture, and then they got Islamized only 1,400 years before. So which becomes their culture? They know better. Unlike the identity lost Pakistanis, Punjabis in Pakistan, they lost identity. They don't even read and write Punjabi. They can't read and write Punjabi because they use Persian script to read and write Punjabi. Very funny, very unfortunate that they don't have their own script, whereas we Hindus, in Bharat, Punjabis have their own script. You find out from where Punjabis got their own script. It's very interesting. It goes to our Guru Parampara. Guru Parampara is Bharat's Guru Parampara. So, this is a situation. Human rights violation, etc., is accused of the Pakistan Army. Now, the Balochis are getting some kind of indirect support from the West. Some people started considering Balochis are also human beings. Once you consider them as human beings, any violation upon them, any violence upon them should be normally treated as human rights violations. So Pakistan is in for some kind of trouble, should be in for some kind of trouble. But there is one thing about these people: they will never learn from their mistakes. They will continue repeating their mistakes, go on doing the same mistakes until things are thrust upon them and they become desperate and helpless, and then cry out in loud and remain silent and accept the inevitable. We'll meet again with some other thought. Till then, it's Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.